One of your sort of like infrequent tag team partners was Billy Robinson. You mentioned him before. I hear that Billy was a terrible driver.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe later. He was married at the time. Had a young son. Had a German wife. Third rail, boy, was she strict. Ula, beautiful German lady. He was married to. I don't know how the hell she looked like a real classy, upper crust, upper class woman, lady, athlete, everything, athletic German, real, Frauerbraun,
Stern,
Sauerbraten, whatever. We're real. She's a hard woman, attractive lady, and how the hell her and Billy ever got together, I have no idea. But
star-crossed lovers, maybe.
Yeah.
Was Billy brought to America by Lord Blears?
I don't know the exacts of all the particulars of that. It was Lord Blears that closed the deal for him going to the AWA. Blears was booking the Japanese. As much hatred as he had for Japan after the war and stuff, he was so tremendously loyal. It was incredible. And he and Fred Blassie and a couple other guys were really, had come from the Ricky Dozan era, the tape you sent me, the Ricky Dozan, and had transgressed into running it with the Ricky Dozan's family, Baba. And that era. So obviously they're English, and Tally, loved being in a British, loved, meeting, with his countrymen. So he, I'm sure from Japan, he developed a rapport with Billy, then brought Billy over here to Hawaii and got all his paperwork and everything else straightened out. And then evidently set up the trip with Vern, to bring Billy into the AWA. And luckily I was a casualty of that whole manipulation. Right place, right time. I got to straggle along. What happened was Curtis and Mark Lewin wanted to take me out to Australia. And Tally Ho knew, how Curtis and those guys operated. It's like, it was Vietnam era, and they had no holes barred. They just and I think they're going to give me $800 a week, and this is like early 70s, 70, 72, which was great, fantastic, unbelievable money. And Tally Ho got wind of that, Australia, and he was always my mentor. He got me, he's the one that got me over with Vern to AWA as opposed to going to Australia. Might have changed my life forever.
Yeah, well, you didn't get much of a tan, I suppose, in Minneapolis, as you would have in Australia.
No.
What's the story about Billy Robinson's eye? Did you ever hear what happened?
Several stories. Yeah, he's cockeyed like an owl. One is Peter Maivia. He first The Rock's grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when he first went to England from Samoa, from that, I don't know if he came the sumo route or not, but I know he went to England for the training and stuff. So evidently Peter was around 200, 210. And, going to Wigan and all the, didn't have a, big wrestling background, being Samoan, just, no instruction, no anything else. So I guess, Billy was pretty rough with him there, and as they all were. But he learned. Then he went away, and then he came back to England, and that's where he started. He was this time when he came back, he was about 280, 285. And it's like the Hulk Hogan, Billy Graham stuff. If you train a dog to fight. The pretty, and it grows up to be a great big dog, and it's a mean dog. It's going to be a hard dog to beat. So one story is that he and Billy got into it, and Peter took out one of the eyes, and in a fight. And another story is that Billy wrestled in the sand pits in Pakistan. They have these sand pits. Yeah, they came when we were WWF. When we were the UAE, the guy would come around with his entourage, and like we wanted to go wrestle sand pits or something. Another story about was that Billy got an infection from the sand wrestling because he would go all over the world, shoot matches and stuff like that, and wrestle all kinds of guys, amateur, or professional setup matches or whatever it was. They weren't easy. They weren't cakewalks anyway. It's not like going to Nebraska, going to come into London and working with Flair. Wasn't anything like that. It was wrestling your local hometown guys that wanted to look good, and wanted to be look good. So yeah, the other story is he got the other eye. He got an infection in Pakistan in the sand pits. What is true? Leah Maivia asked, not Leah, Atta, Rock's mom asked me. I said, no, this is true. My dad pulled out. I said, I don't think so. I think he. So I gave her the sandpit story, but yeah, and then I remember Peter talking that he got back to when he got back to London. It was a different story.
I'll fill in slightly here because I actually researched this for the Rock book that I wrote. Billy Robinson said it was a fight in Japan. Wherever this fight happened with Peter Maivia, it was definitely in Japan in the 60s. The old story is that he pulled his eye out or damaged his eye during a fight. He got a thumb right in the eye. Billy says that he was blind in one eye from about the age of 10 because a child had thrown like a metal sign, like a frisbee, and it hit him in the eye and blinded him. That's the story he gave. And also he said that he beat up Peter Maivia and not the other way around.
Okay.
that's very much one man's side of the story on at least the fight. Just a couple more things about Billy then. Temperament, ornery, would you say?
Could be. Generally, it was a pretty jolly kind of, always kind of to go back at you like an English type personality, limericks and joking, and he was always, kind of doing some goofy stuff. But he tried maybe too hard to be, likable or like to be friendly, and then he would. I don't think he ever went out of his way to be, a pain in the ass to anybody or to he was always, but he could, I'd seen he could get there.
With Billy, there's also quite a lot of stories that when he wrestled with people, sometimes he may sort of exert his will on his opponents to just let them know that he was the real tough guy. Any particular examples or any wrestlers who may have got on the wrong side of him and he basically sorted them out in the ring?
No, not that, the Sheik and at Burns camp and stuff like that. The stories he couldn't turn the Sheik over and stuff like that. They go back to, but the times I was around him, he was always, consummate pro for everything he did.
And one more actually, sorry about Robinson, is why was Nick Bockwinkel chosen really as Vern's successor rather than Billy, do you think?
Probably control. Yeah, Nick was a fabulous heel. His interviews and his interviews were unique. His work was unique. And then with Robinson, like all those guys, we were talking about Superstar before. One of those guys get in a position of control, you don't know if you're going to get the belt back or not. They may choose not to, to pull it like Vern supposedly offered the Sheik $100,000 to break Hogan's leg. Just something you never know. They may take the belt and say, I want more money. I want, they can hold you up. It seems like Nick was more of a businessman and smarter, and and the less possibility of him running off track.